Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Market, where every day we discuss all things to do with the markets, including the crypto market, the NFT market, and the Tesla market, the electric vehicle market, which we are now experts on, of course. Load up discussion today. We have Tesla surging higher, $492. We talked about it yesterday. Legendary's been talking about it for even longer. It's up as the rest of stocks are actually having a relatively down day. So we'll do a little bit of a market roundup in just a little bit on that. We'll talk SEC ending its 4-year investigation into Aave, with the founder buying $10 million worth of the token, as we discuss an important proposal going live, aligning the DAO with the Labs team. A very important discussion in crypto at the moment. To what extent you can align equity and token holders. And finally, Hyperliquid announces the Hyper Foundation will vote to formally recognize the existence fund Hype being burned, removing tokens permanently from supply. We'll dive into some of the numbers there, what that means, and what we think will happen there. We've also got the latest on price action on crypto and NFTs and general market thoughts as usual. So stay tuned for that. Delighted to say I've got Bread and Legendary in the co-host seats with me today. But just before we get into it, just a reminder, friends, nothing that we say in this show is financial advice, because this market is very, very risky. We do not know anything for sure, so please do proceed with caution as always and exercise your own judgment. With that out of the way, it's a Wednesday. It's the 17th of December. Legendary, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
GM Jim, I am having a fantastic day. Tesla is looking good. We still ignore what is happening on the crypto side of things, with the exception of me getting lucky yesterday and pulling three of the top chase cards in the BZ 250 claw. They did have to shut it down after that to go and restock it. So, you know, there's good things happening, and I'm pretty excited to be venturing a bit more outside of crypto and to be talking about Tesla again today, to be talking about Elon, maybe getting some SpaceX talk in as well, given that his net worth is now skyrocketing, crossing 600 billion with ease. And yeah, it's a very interesting day in the stock market. So quite excited to get into that.
Very exciting as well. What do you think about the idea I have seen, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this more in a bit, the idea that crypto people will sell off? There's all kinds of narratives that just form on the internet, right? And one of them at the moment is crypto people are going to sell off the 20 to 30% dip in crypto to go into stocks now, because everyone thinks that's where the returns are, just before stocks are about to take their 20, 30% dip. Ledge, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that this is what's working out or what's playing out. Ultimately, the crypto market is so small, and like Bitcoin is at the 1.7 trillion market cap. Tesla is essentially at the same market cap. Has Tesla flipped Bitcoin yet? No, they're like Tesla is at 1.62 trill, BTC is at 1.7, so they're like 100 billion off flipping Bitcoin's market cap. So whatever happens in crypto and flows into stocks ultimately is irrelevant. That's not a significant amount of money moving the stock markets.
Okay. We'll discuss that more, I think, as we get into the Tesla segment today, and you'll be sharing some of your detailed thoughts as you've been speaking about it for a long time. Brad, checking in with you, my man. How are things your side? Do you have any thoughts on the stock market stuff? Anything else going on in your world? What's going on before we get into the main stuff today?
I'm going to pivot entirely from the stock market and talk about something that's much more pressing, and that is my sore body. I've recently taken up, I meant to actually talk about this on Monday, maybe Friday actually. I've taken up an AI trainer.
No way.
And all that means is that, like, I've been working out for a long fucking time, right? A long ass time. It's 15, 20 years. I have a pretty good like mental repertoire of like programs and lifts and whatever. But the last like year, I've been pretty lazy. To the point where I'm just like, I'm vibe lifting. I'm like, yeah, I'll go in this day, I'll do chest and I'll do bench and I'll do flies and like maybe I'll do bicep and maybe I'll do 2 sets. And I was like, all right, to reduce cognitive load, like I need a program. I need to do a program again. I was at my best when I did a program and all this stuff. So my current setup, all my my gear downstairs changed because I moved here. Like I have a new gym. It doesn't have all the same shit, like whatever. So I consulted Gemini with what I wanted to do, doing some hypertrophy stuff, all the gear that I have, all this shit. I was like, give me a program. Like just 5 days a week. I have to go do it for 45 minutes. Like just give me the shit. So I have it. And I'm on day, I guess, 3 now because I started on Saturday. Yesterday's my first off day, active recovery day. And I'm sore as shit, man. Like, I just realized like how lazy I get if I allow myself to just like vibe lift and like I don't actually push myself.
Yeah.
I get it by my phone. So now I can just shut off my brain. I'm just do what the spreadsheet says and just knock it out. And I'm sore, man. I'm pretty beat up. It shows how much I've slacked.
I'm a
yeah. 100% get that. I had the same. I needed to take it even further than that. I'm using an app. It's called Fitbud, and basically same concept. And it's giving you, you basically give it guidance. Do you want to do like a split? Do you want to do full body? I went with my typical split, and it's giving you exercises. And in case you don't like one, you can say, nah, I don't want to do that. You swap it out. Then the next day in the gym, it gives you like next exercise you should do it. There's a bit of variance to it as well. And obviously you have to track weights and sets. And what helps me more than having my own spreadsheet is knowing that Fitbit or any app that does that would tell me, hey, you moved 10% less weight than the last time you worked out your back. Like, stop slacking. Like, what's going on? You're not increasing weight. You should be pushing harder. You should get a couple more reps out at least. And having this progression like tied to numbers where I can't basically cheat myself and be like, yeah, I'm gonna vibe lift. I'm gonna do a bit of this and that.
Yeah.
Completely get that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Brad, question for you is, I mean, I am a big fan of just having a schedule, like do the schedule, take the thing you said, which is 100% true. The mental load of having to think when you've got a busy schedule anyway, and you've got so many things in your mind, so many moving plates and moving parts, like the moment when you walk into the gym and you don't know what you're doing, my God, that's so annoying. Like, because then you have to think. You got to like. So I'm a big fan of having the schedule.
I did arms yesterday and then back.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what was it yesterday?
Yeah,
it feels like work. Like the mental load is exactly there. But the thing that I was going to say, do you feel sore because you were lazy, or you sore because the AI trainer is a mean, harsh beast? Because when I did a very similar thing, the thing that this algorithm spit out for me was aggressive. Like I was like, okay, this is my goals, this is my weight, this is how much like I want to eat and this and that and whatever. And then I showed my friend what it shared with me, and it was like, dude, this is insane. Like this is the most aggressive proposal. I've tried to do it, but I can't quite do all of it in the exact same way. But was it a little bit of that as well? Like did the AI just take what you wanted and really run with it?
I mean, if I'm being honest, and it's all relative, right? And your experience levels, whatever. It's like this program is probably like half of what I used to do. So, and I did that for like 2.5 years straight every single day. Like there literally no days off, like intense program. It was go to work, go to the gym for an hour and a half, do active recovery after the gym for probably half hour, fuck around, do whatever. So like, and I did that for a long ass time. So like this is a walk in the park. And it's literally just me like not pushing myself. Like it's entirely just that.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we have to keep up with the progress. We have to keep up with the progress. If we're all on AI assisted workouts, let's see.
Next step is me body shaming myself on the timeline. Like I feel like a blob, and like I've been contemplating doing a peak to trough like trading picture of like showing my peak to my current trough and how I feel. Like if I post that, then like I force myself to like have to get better because I've committed to it to everyone else.
Talking about that, did you see Brian Johnson posting this like picture reel 2018 to 2025? I'm sharing it on screen right now. Like obviously we know like today's Brian Johnson, like the 2023 to 2025 version, but 2018 Brian Johnson does not look healthy at all.
I mean, 2023 and 2024 don't either, if we're being honest.
I don't know how healthy he looks now, guys. Like he looks like a alien kind of strange entity.
Better than 2018 though, to me.
Better than 2018 for sure.
Yeah, you got a little jawline going. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the 2023 version though, but I'm also really curious to get Funky's thoughts on our gym discussion so far.
Gym boys, yeah, I was gonna just say, as you know, the 50-year-old in the room, enjoy it while you can, because one thing I've learned especially in the last year or so, I've been training 4 days a week, is that your joints and ligaments and tendons just don't hold up. Even though your muscles can recover, like I'm going to phase into this new thing I read about called 222, where you do basically 2 days a week just lifting, which I'm still skeptical on, but you go like pretty heavy to where you're only doing 2 sets. It's all compound movement. So you're doing basically legs, posterior chain, and then a push and a pull. And you're just doing like those 8 sets, and you basically take them to failure and you rest for a few minutes and then do it again. So you have these short workouts that are like 45 minutes, but then you have like 4 days in between. So like Monday and then, or maybe at least 3 days, and then a Thursday, because that way it gives your joints and tendons and ligaments and stuff more time to rest. Because I'm jacked up right now. I got bad medial epicondylitis in my left. I'm literally wearing a wrist brace because I think I sprained my wrist on my right. So
Amazing.
like 30s, enjoy it, but you got to keep up with it.
I love it. The one final thought, and we got to get into the main stuff today, is like I'm convinced we all know that we should be doing yoga or stretching more, but we just don't do it. We just don't do it.
I'm doing Pilates this weekend.
Good. Actually do it. And then you're going to do that every weekend, or you're just going to do it once and then never forget about
No,
it?
Allison does it, and she's like, "You got to come." I was like, "All right, yeah, I'm going to come."
There you
'Cause I
go.
used to do yoga. I used to do like all that shit. So
Got to do it, man.
Pilates is crazy intense. I did like reformer Pilates, and it's insane. I want to have like one of these machines at home because yeah, it is definitely good to balance it off with traditional like weight training.
Got to balance it off. All right, let's get into it, guys. We've got a lot of, despite the unbelievable bear market talk as we go through our gym routines, we've got a lot of interesting stuff going on in the market as usual. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the price action as always. You know, the main stuff's fairly flat, to be honest. Bitcoin's flat, 87, ETH's flat, 2.9K, BNB is down 1% to 859, Sol is flat, 127. Got Hyperliquid, which is flat also at around $27. On the meme coin side, just like a touch red in general. Doge is down 1% to 13 cents. Pepe is down 1%. Pump is down 6%, down to 2.3 bill. That's down 23% on the week, by the way, now. So that's like really moving down aggressively. I think people are, well, I don't know what's happening there, but clearly selling off regardless. Pengu's down for another 4%. SPX is flat. Pippin is down 18% after it was up so much in the last week or so. Still up 10% on the week, but red today. Fartcoin's up 3%. One of the only memes that's green. Ribbit, Tibber on virtuals is up 40%. So this is one that always kind of moves asynchronously with the rest of the market. Rect is down a couple of percent as well. So generally a kind of broadly red day. Getting into the headlines themselves, we're going to be talking Tesla surging higher to $492. We talked about it yesterday. We'll talk about it again today. Typically when we talk about things 2 days in a row, it's like some kind of local top. So I'd be cautious of buying here personally, but I'm still really bullish on Tesla long term. So maybe Ledge can sketch out some of our broader thoughts on Tesla as we get in later to the show. We'll talk SEC ending its 4-year investigation into Aave. Stanley, the founder, buying $10 million worth of its token, whilst there's also an important proposal going live to align the DAO with Labs. Big conversation around aligning interests between token holders and equity holders. So Brad will break that down today. And then finally, I will discuss Hyperliquid announcing that the Hyper Foundation will vote to formally recognize the assistant fund Hype as burned, which would remove around 13% of circulating supply permanently. So we'll talk about that, and I'll share some of my thoughts on what the implications are. Some notable sales on the NFT side. This Ether Rock, this wonderful, beautiful Ether Rock, sold for 90 ETH. Classic NFT, very rare. Beautiful gray shade with the light shining off it, just a little more to the top than in the middle. Very, very nice rock. CryptoPunk floor, though, in the meantime, is down to $78,000. I've said we don't bottom the whole market until these are down at 50. Let's see. In the meantime, Cyrus shared yesterday the huge number of CryptoPunk loans which are already underwater. So this asset is going lower, guys. I don't think there's a good way to short CryptoPunks anymore. Those experiments with providing liquidity and shorting NFTs didn't really work out. None of those protocols are around anymore, I don't think. So you can't bet on this in a meaningful way. However, I think they're going lower when you see how many loans are underwater. In the rest of the news, Visa announced settlement on Solana is open now. PancakeSwap and YZ Labs come together for a new BNB prediction market. BNB also announced a new stablecoin is going to come to the chain to unify liquidity. I think a lot of people want to have the stablecoin, obviously, because they can earn the yield. Rainbow Wallet announces the Rainbow TGE will be in February 2026. So there's still a bit of time to wait. Colosseum announces Stamp, an investment contract which provides founders a path to raise private capital to launching a public token. Trove Season 1 points are now live to claim for many Hyperliquid communities. If you have been very active on Hyperliquid and continue to be into this month, I believe you should have points to collect there. Don't know how valuable they're going to be. Does not look like the Hyperliquid community and other people are valuing tokens that are built on top of Hyperliquid very highly. Remember, Kinetic is down to, I think, 12 mil market cap now. Real decline on Kinetic, which was very much built up as one of the top protocols getting built out on Hyperliquid. Still think it's a cool product, good team, but the market's not valuing it at the moment. Worm announces $4.5 million pre-seed round to build a prediction market on Solana. A notable backing from Six Man Ventures, who have notably backed Pump, backed Football.Fun, along with Alliance, Luca Nets, and Mert as prominent angels. So more prediction markets getting funded. Space ICO go live tomorrow, raising $2 million at a 50 mil FTV. Moonbird's blind boxes start shipping. Note to ourselves, guys, I think we need to go and claim some blind boxes, however many we bought. Berwick Law reveal lawsuit against Pump Fun, and Solana arguing the market was designed to extract value to those with privileged access. And then finally, World ID introduces verification for dating app Tinder. More real world use cases for the blockchain. Guys, that is the roundup. That's all the news from around the space that we need to know. Before we get into the main stuff today, we've got some interesting stuff to talk about. Maybe coming to you first, Bread. Anything catching your attention here from around the market? Anything else I've missed out? What's on your mind?
I've been out of the dating scene for a while. I don't know if AI is becoming a problem there, and like that's what's informing some of this Tinder real world stuff, and like if that's an actual motivator or if it's just like just another thing. But that's interesting to me that like I don't know, we kind of predicted this ish, to where it's just like with AI things are going to get really noisy. So the cost of production of simulating, imitating, creating is going to zero. Therefore everything is going to get filled with AI slop, and some of that slop is going to be indistinguishable from actual humans. And yeah, I'm kind of curious if that's actually going to be a motivator. Like if catfishing is going to be on the rise, because now you don't even have to catfish with someone else's fake ID or someone else's personality. You can just literally just create an entirely new one that looks like new. And in that world, like the clash of the abundance of AI and the verifiability of blockchain, like that was the marriage we've kind of always been looking to for years now, ever since ChatGPT has been doing a thing. So interesting. That's just like I wonder how adopted that's going to be. And then the other thing is the Binance stablecoin baby, because like good luck keeping up, brothers. Like I am still like, it's, you can see big demand here. You see Hyperliquid doing, you see here doing it. Everyone's trying to do this fucking thing. Sorry, man, you're not going to be able to undo the liquidity that you've built up in your ecosystem to embed a new token very easily, right? If it's a permissionless system, if you are going to all of your different protocols and saying, hey, integrate this token, and then you're going to all your different lenders and borrowers and traders and saying, hey, man, just like remove everything, swap into this new token, and then put everything back exactly how you wanted to prior to that, no one's going to do it. Like we have seen, no one does it. No one ever will do it, because like it does not benefit them to do it. And I don't know, just like validation for me and for Mickey ETH's construction going day zero with a stablecoin. Very excited about that.
That's really interesting. Two thoughts on that. I want to ask you about them. Want to hear from Ledge on these thoughts, and then what else is catching his attention. So a side note, maybe I noticed for some reason, and I don't know what's specifically going on here, but the Legion sale for Football.Fun, if I am correct, is being conducted in USD1.
Yep.
And so like when I notice things like this, it's just like, it's an odd one, right? Everything traditionally is done in USDT or USDC. And I guess maybe these people are trying to forge partnerships with different people, because in the end, if you're going to participate in a particular sale and they tell you it has to be in this thing, you do change. It's like with the mega pre-sale. I think the first one you did was in USDT, and then the deposit scheme was going to be in USDC. And someone could have said, "Oh, well, I don't have USDC." It's like, well, if you go on to participate, you need to change, and you do. Like, you will do that to participate. So you do have like specific opportunities to force people to integrate into the thing that you want. But as you said, when these things are like pre-established and they've existed for ages, it's hard to, especially with trading pairs, for example, right? Like the trading pair is the biggest thing.
Yeah, liquidity is totally separate, because liquidity is permissionless, and liquidity is something that is kind of accumulated over time. It's not a spot thing, right? Like, yes, these ICOs, yes, like a specific activity that comes up where everyone has to be activated to do it. Like, sure, yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can make a USD FU. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can force anyone into anything as long as there's liquidity to swap into it. But like, just like DeFi broadly is not going to move at all.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting stuff. Ledge, any thoughts there or anything else catching your attention?
Yeah, maybe more on the, not on the stablecoin side. We've spoken about that and I have nothing to add to that. But on the Tinder side, and like proof of humanity in general is going to be a big thing, obviously. And on the AI side or on the dating side, what I did see an increase in some like reports on is that catfishing, obviously with AI, has gone to another level now, that you can use image generation to create consistent humans. And also, if you use uncensored models, obviously you can also create nudes and send them around. And that like teenagers have been like basically tricked into sending nudes and then have been either like blackmailed or extorted. And there's been a couple of suicide cases who, like, the teenagers didn't want to open up to parents or family and have sent a dick pic or whatever, and then like just committed suicide over that. So this has been an increase, which I've seen. Apparently, like, this is part of a like bigger scamming ring, and all of that is going to get crazy now that it's super, super easy to generate these pictures. There's even an Instagram account of a fake AI influencer basically generating pictures of, quote unquote, her meeting Cristiano Ronaldo, meeting Elon, meeting all other prominent people. So even that is becoming easier now, especially if you know how to use models that are not censoring you as a default GPT or Nano Banana model would do. So that's definitely going to become a concern, and proof of humanity will be something that's going to be super, super valuable. And the typical selfie proof or whatever, even video proof, won't suffice in a near enough future. So it's not, maybe it reads odds or outlandish at first to see that like World ID Tinder news, but it's definitely a direction where I think we're like strongly and pretty quickly headed towards.
Yeah, interesting. One thing that was catching my attention before we get into the main stuff is this pre-seed round for Worm. Worm announced 4.5 mil pre-seed round to build a prediction market on Solana with backing from, I think it's fair to say, like very Solana aligned investors. So you've got 6 Man Ventures, who backed Pump very famously, and Football.Fun, and have done really, really well. Alliance also, Luca, who has taken, I mean, Pudgy Penguins are everywhere, but Luca's kind of went to Solana with the Pengu token at least, and Mert, who is obviously a huge Solana bull. My thought on this is twofold. One of them, I was thinking this earlier and I put it in our Telegram chat, and the second part I just thought out loud as I was coming to this point. The first point is prediction markets. It feels like NFTs and perp dexes. Like OpenSea in 2021 was incredibly successful, and then you had this flurry of alternative prediction markets. The market can't cope with so many options for doing the same thing, in my opinion. Just like we had a flurry of NFT markets after OpenSea, and then Blur, to be fair, came in and produced an outstanding product. Yes, they had crazy incentives, but they did create a pretty damn interesting product as well, specifically with Blend, integrating the perpetual lending on the back end. Like, that was a net new product and still is pretty interesting product. So, you know, but there was two predominant marketplaces. I know Gondi has kind of gone in that direction now, trying to go for the top end of the market. So there can always be a few players, I think, but it's not, the market can't cope with all of these. So my first thought is, we're in that process where people are still super hyped about prediction markets and people still think they can fund more and more. But I think we're also going to find out in perpdex is like, okay, you had Hyperliquid. All right, you've got lighter now. Maybe there's variational and extended or whatever the other ones are called. Like maybe one tier down that's getting a bit of volume and people are farming them. But the more and more and more that you do, these are not all going to survive. And the later that you're funding them, the lower the likelihood, in my opinion, unless you've got some outstanding team, unless you've got the Pac-Man founder who's going to come in and has figured out the incentive structure to go out incentivize everyone else and vampire attack all the current people. So I'm not particularly keen on seeing more prediction markets. We even had the conversation the other day about how prediction markets do we even care? Like, we're not invested. Yeah, they're kind of crypto, but you know, it's kind of just a different type of betting. I do still like them. I think they're interesting, specifically on the information political side. But then the final thought, and I think I took this from the wording, I think from the announcement, but even if it wasn't there, you can kind of read into it. This idea of like building a prediction market on Solana or like on somewhere on a particular chain, I feel like we're moving away from that model. Like when you saw teams building out specifically on Hyperliquid, something like Project X, yeah, fine, you could swap native assets there, but then they've expanded out. They've realized like, okay, well, we need to be cross-chain. We need to be able to do things everywhere. We don't need to, I don't think there's a value now in saying we are only this specific chain. We are only this for this specific group of people, because there's like this crazy tribalism even right now. There always has been, but even feels like it's heightened recently, of like Solana versus Base versus Ethereum. That seems to have been coming up again. It's like, what was this? A prediction market just for the people on Solana, or is it for everyone? And so I'd be cautious. And look, this is just a pre-seed announcement. I don't know the details of how they're going to pitch this, but I'd be pretty curious to see how they continue to pitch that, because my view now would be you just can't be I'm only interested in this core group of people, because crypto needs to be bigger than that, I think now. So maybe coming to you first, Brad, because you know, you're obviously building on
because
Mega,
I'm dancing. Because
and,
I'm dancing.
and maybe you think the same, maybe you think differently, and then curious for Legendary's thoughts too.
So I do think the same, but also like with a twist. So one, I agree with you.
It's a lovely way to say you disagree with me.
Yeah, like I'm B check 2.5. So we're right there, but we're
2. What? It wasn't 2.0.
2.5. We're like halfway.
Okay.
Yeah. So I agree and I disagree. I agree that the walls are coming down between these chains. The tribalism is starting to what am I looking for? Dissolve, whatever. Diffuse. That's what I was looking for. Tribalism is diffusing for sure. People are less required, or just like saying, F no, I'm not going over there because it's on a new chain. I still think you need to like escape the cold start problem. You usually have to align with an ecosystem. I think if you come out of the box and say, we are the everything, like everyone does that. And like there's a trail of teams that have never aligned with a singular ecosystem. And because of that, they don't have a name. They don't have any credibility. Unless you like can buy that or like build up enough before that, no one's really going to give you the time of day, right? But if you say, I'm with this ecosystem to start, and then like you usually get buy-in from the initial people to try it out, to do the thing, to say, hey, this is actually cool. This is kind of cool. They show it to their friends, whatever. And then the app can start saying, but you can get deposits from Solana. You get deposits from Polygon. You get deposits from Ethereum. It's like the application sits here, but we have accessibility or lanes from all of these other ecosystems to our chain.
That's fair for the
and
cold
then like,
start.
Yeah. So like, I think that is probably the best construction in the current thing. And like, because some people will just straight up reject you if you don't say like, we're part of your ecosystem.
Sure.
Because there is still some tribalism there. Now, the second thing is, because I do think this is like where everything is going and chain abstraction is coming, where, bro, you're not even going to know you're depositing SOL into this thing. You're going to say, I'm going to be depositing USDC. I'm going to be depositing some stable coin. Maybe they don't even say it's which stable coin. They say it's a fucking dollar. And because Li-Fi is on the background, you're on Polygon, you send it the Pol ticker or whatever shitty ticker they have. and like you just end up with dollars on the back end because it's swapped and sits there, and it just shows dollars on the app. In that world, which is what we're all heading towards, it behooves the applications to select their chain based on, frankly, which chain is going to make their thing the most performant application, right? Like they no longer really give a shit about the underlying. They just like, I just want my app to be the best app that it can be. We'll start off in this initial ecosystem. Cool, it gives us an eco start, but we're going to have deposits from all over the place. I just want the app to be as responsive as possible. And in that world, you go to the logical extreme. Logical extreme is right here with me, baby, on Mega ETH. Because like we're building the thing that is the logical extreme. So like in that world where you just say, like, from a technical perspective, like, so like in that world where you're just like, bro, I just want the app to be as the best app that it can be. I don't actually care about like aligning with the chain. I don't care about everything else. I'll have deposits from everywhere. It does not matter. Like, I just want it to be as fast, responsive, and low cost as possible. Like, you're just going to go to the ecosystem that facilitates that. And in live systems today, it's Solana, which is why a lot of people are going to Solana. You don't really need a Solana cold start, although like it does help. And then in the future, it'll be Mega.
Interesting. Definitely on the speed side. And I would only add that I guess there's, for my reflections on the base versus Solana conversation, there seems to be a lot of added value maybe from the Solana ecosystem, on the marketing, on the this side and that. But then even there, there's this conversation between like, does base help more? Does Solana help more? My general take on all this, we've spoken about this with Legendary privately, when it comes to founders and stuff, like the best founders find a way. It doesn't matter. Like, remember, Polymarket is built on Polygon. Like, Polygon didn't help them. So stop asking for help. You're going to have to build it and create your own hype and success, ultimately. Curious for your thoughts here, Ledge, before we get to the main stuff.
Yeah, I agree with Brett. I think Myriad is a great example for a prediction market that did exactly what Brett described. They started out on abstract. Nobody really cares about abstract except for a small core group, which was enough to build them to a certain level of significance that then allowed them to launch onto BNB and further propel the volume. The thing that I'm more concerned with is just the sheer plethora of prediction markets.
Yeah.
I think the first NFT marketplace, the second NFT marketplace, the third one, maybe the fourth one were a great investment. The 57th prediction market is not a great investment anymore. It's just become a commodity. And especially we are in a time in the market where we are like grossly mistaken about FDVs, market caps, and valuations of companies. And I want to bring up one chart because you mentioned that earlier in the show when you were doing the roundup, and then link it back to the prediction markets. And it is kinetic. There was a time when we were thinking, and by we I mean Polymarket, that this for sure is between 1 and 2 billion. And now it is trading at a $13 million market cap. That's off 90%. That's
okay,
off more
that's
off 99%. So in the 98, 99% region.
Yeah.
And
So
yes, it never launched to the Billy. But just let me finish this thought real quick. We were like completely off tenfold when it's gonna come out. And it has corrected another 90% down from that. And I think that thinking that every prediction market is going to be $1 billion protocol because the prediction market industry is $1 trillion industry is just grossly mistaken. So I'd be very careful to invest in prediction markets right now.
Agree. Like, I mean, in general, I think you gotta lock up your money a little bit at the moment and be super discerning. I said this the other day. You've got to be super discerning right now. This is part of the game. I think some people think they can switch off as this part of the game if nothing's happening. No, you've got to be alert. You've got to be discerning, and you've got to keep participating to learn the process of saying no as well. Like, you got to learn. You got to be in the game and say no and be happy and comfortable, and that's actually part of the game. And you should actually take as much credit from saying no to some of these things when you see them not work out as when you say good. I think you should actually celebrate some of the misses that you intentionally swerve out of the way of, because there's a whole host of opportunities for you to lose money as the market goes against you and as teams are trying to raise at the very tail end of a bullish environment. And you could very well eviscerate some of the good work that you've done up until this point. So I think that's important as a more general point. One actually final thought is Dudify in our Telegram chat, always posting awesome details and bits of news and stuff. The other thing that maybe people are not even considering, sure, we're funding some crypto native prediction markets, but a Robinhood coming out, did a Robinhood, have they got one live already as well? He posted a link here saying Robinhood prediction market, men's pro basketball. It looks like
they have Kalshi embedded.
Okay, so they've got Kalshi embedded. Okay, so this is the thing. So Kalshi and Polymarket obviously getting all of these integrations in all kinds of different places. And so maybe these main players are going to get embedded very much in some of the places that already have so much distribution. And so, you know, you gotta factor that in when you're trying to create like another crypto native startup prediction market, I think. But look, enough of that. Let's get into the main stuff today. We've got 20 minutes left of the show, which I think is plenty to get into the main headlines today. Ledge, we're coming to you straight away here, talking about Tesla. In the down market in stocks, Tesla just has continued to rip. What do we need to know here, Legendary? What's the short-term, medium-term, long-term thesis for you? I know we talked a little bit about yesterday, but why don't we get into your further thoughts here?
Awesome. Let's get into it. As you said, Tesla is continuing to go up. It's continuing to surge. Did close at $489. It's up on the pre-market again. It's at 490 on the pre-market. So continuing a positive trend. Completely was able to recover from the lows in March, April, and go back and even exceed its all-time high. And that is happening against the backdrop of a bit more of a mixed market, I would argue, where we have companies like Amazon, Apple being flat, Google being a bit down on the day, Nvidia being a bit up, the financial sector, JP Morgan and others being more in the red. So definitely not a day where the entire market was pumping and Tesla was just following along, but outperforming on that. What is going on with Tesla is that the investor optimism is certainly not stemming from the EV sales. EV sales, generally speaking, are down across the states. If we look at the data for November, EV sales plunged 41%. That is because the sector is navigating Trump ending that $7,500 federal tax credits, or did end that at the end of September. However, Tesla sales only, quote unquote, fell 23%, whereas the general EV sector did fall 41%. So they are doing better than the rest in terms of sales. But the real excitement is the thing which we also mentioned on the show today is that the robo taxi fleet is showing some optimism now, as we've seen, as we're starting to see tests in Austin without safety pilots. And that was the thing where I feel like there was a lot of skepticism in the media if this is really going to happen, where the general consensus was that Waymo is far more advanced when it comes to that side of things. But it does seem that there is some very, very good progress happening for Tesla on the one hand, when it comes to the autonomous driving, when it comes to the robotaxi fleet, and layering on top of that, what we are also seeing is some more optimism and interest when it comes to the robotic side of thing, which is obviously a growing sector that's picking up interest massively. The third thing that I would add to that, which it's not technically linked to the company because it's a completely separate entity, but all that bullishness around SpaceX, the SpaceX IPO, the 800 bill that is now being discussed as a figure that also has propelled Elon's net worth by another couple $100 billion. I cannot imagine a world where all this news is happening. It's very Elon-centric, that this basically is not also affecting Tesla's share price and not causing some further bullishness, whether that's like the thesis, oh, if he's going to be the first trillionaire, he's going to be able to do so much more, or maybe he's going to be able to link some of the SpaceX stuff to Tesla or whatever. But I just don't think that you can announce one of the biggest IPOs in history while you're running another company and those things happen in complete isolation. There's going to be some like spillover effects, and in this case, very positive ones, because there's a very, very strong sense of optimism around these record numbers that are being thrown around.
Thoughts across the board on Tesla there? The only thing I would maybe add is I think maybe you mentioned it briefly, just the humanoid robots, which are being viewed as very much going to come into the conversation. Obviously, Tesla has Optimus, and that'll be coming into the conversation in the next couple of years, I think. But in terms of the price action, Legendary, maybe a final reflection here. Okay, so there's a couple of scenarios that I'm playing out in my mind. I'm thinking SP needs to take a break, and the rest of the market was down a little bit. Tesla went against it. So S&P 500 is back down to 6,800 after flirting with the idea of running up to 7K. I think it needs to take a break personally, but I don't know that needs to include Tesla if Tesla is going to become this kind of favorite stock for the moment. In any event, the other thing I'm wondering is, like, you know, we've got very conditioned in crypto to take profits in the cycle because so much of the stuff that we have been trading is vapor, and therefore you really need to take those profits. You go into stables and you move into something more solid. But if you're buying these top companies that are up a lot, like, do you have to be as fearful? Like, how specifically are you approaching it as you are sitting on very healthy gains on Tesla and maybe I think the MSCIC World, just kind of general thing? Are these just like buy and holds forever? Or are you like wanting to take profit to buy a Tesla dip or an S&P dip? Like, how are you game planning that?
Yeah, it's a twofold answer. My ACWI, the All Country World Index, is buy and hold, and I basically have that as a savings plan. Like, I'm adding a couple. I'm adding a very solid amount of money every month to that, and that is to be held. Tesla, again, very much like the stock, it was pretty prominent on the timeline that I bought the Howard Lutnick announcement, call to action, whatever, and it doubled up. And we are now getting to a point where we're like exceeding let's zoom out a bit more, the old all-time high, and people will want to take profits and probably will take profits. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a correction. I definitely want to lock in some gains on that as well. Ultimately, it's a stock that doubled in less than 12 months. That is not something to shy away from. That's absurd performance. And with Tesla, we have seen that volatility can be pretty brutal because on the one hand, yes, it doubled up, but on the other hand, we've also seen the move down from 420 to 200, 220 or so. And that happened in basically a couple of months, in a bit more than half a year. So it can be extremely volatile. And, you know, putting that in crypto perspective, because we like to think in crypto terms, it's like BTC is at 86K today, and in March it's trading at 43K. That is the amount of volatility that we're talking here for a $1 trillion company. So yes,
good,
I like
analogy.
I'm long-term very, very bullish because the three layers that I have mentioned. But midterm, I can see a correction. By midterm, long-term, I don't mean this traditional like TradFi. Long-term is 10 years. Midterm is like 3 to 5 years. I mean, like, over the next couple of months, I could see a correction now that we have surpassed all-time high. So I want to take some profits. I want to be able to buy a dip, but also if there is no dip, happy that I locked some profits and I'm riding the rest.
Yeah.
But long-term, I'm super bullish on the company.
Okay. I think I would assess it in the same way. And that's someone who has not got the Tesla holdings that he wants yet, but has capital to allocate. I might buy a bag soon and then like DCA down ideally, or DCA up. Like, I don't actually care. I think this is a stock that I want to hold for the long term. Brad, do you have a view on Tesla, or shall we keep it moving into the next headline? What do you want to do?
I will invoke my ticker services and say it's a great ticker. It's I give this one a solid. Looking at it, yeah, that you can get basically the entire word in there. So that's a good 9 out of 10. I would say 9 is like pristine. 10, there's like no 10s in the world, but I will find the 110 and give it out whenever it's right. So 9 out of 10, no flaws.
Did you? I think you weren't on the show the day we discussed the potential SpaceX ticker, Brad.
Exactly what I wanted to ask.
Did you have a view on the potential SpaceX ticker?
Tell me.
Let's get Brad's ratings on these. The options.
2 questions. A, look at the options ranging from SPACs to SEX to Mars to space. And B, are you taking the SEX bet 20% chance on Polymarket, 240K volume.
That's a
Potentially
favorite. That is a joint favorite. That the
The
trillion
favorite
dollar
because of
space
Elon,
company.
and he's a whatever dude. He's retweeting Grok, like creating images of, you know, whatever girls. So that's an Elon thing, but it's a bad ticker objectively. So I would vote against that. So like, yes, that might be true in the prediction market. It would be the wrong call if you're looking for a quality ticker for SpaceX. Same with SPACs. Horrible does not invoke the SpaceX in your mind. Like it literally makes me think of a SPAC. Sex. No, SX is actually pretty good. Although it makes me think of like 4X. So it's like, eh. X obviously conflicts with other companies that are also under Elon. That's a no. Space is good. I
Space
like
is
space
good.
a lot.
Space is good, but only 5% chance for what would be the most like
That is
logical,
so
reasonable
obvious.
ticker.
Call it space.
Yeah. Yeah.
my
Of
God.
these, it's space for sure. It's not perfect. It's a tough name because you get like it's gonna get some points docked because it doesn't actually have the X, but you can't go more than 5 characters for sure. 5 is maximum I'll allow for a ticker. So it's probably the best you can do with that. It's really hard.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Official diagnosis of the
7 out of
potential
10.
SpaceX tickers. Look, Brad, we've got 10 minutes left of the show. Let's get to the second headline here because this Aave dialogue conflict between the DAO and the labs entity has been pretty interesting. There's been some updates both on the SEC side and on the proposal side, which I think is important to understand because of how it interacts with the general conversation at the moment between equity holders and token holders. What do we need to know?
So the headline itself is SEC ends 4-year Aave investigation as the DAO seeks lab alignment. And I'm actually going to report this kind of like, it feels like I'm the guy at the MMA fight, right? The boxing ring. So in the blue corner, we have Labs. Labs is led by Stani. Stani is the original founder of Aave or ETHLend back in the day. And these are the things that he's bringing to the table for this particular junction. One, he announced the SEC closed its investigation after 4 years, not recommending any enforcement action. This is something that he has fought for on behalf of the labs to advocate for why the thing needs to exist and defend the protocol itself, which is governed by the DAO. He also performed a $10 million TWAP into Aave the other day to show that he is Aave aligned and Aave will win. And then he also dropped an article talking about the master plan for Aave and why Aave will win, DeFi will win. In that he cited 59% market share by Aave as the dominant lending protocol across all of crypto. And then he outlined the 2026 Aave plans, which is the V4 hub and spoke architecture for unified liquidity across chains, Horizon's expansion to 1 billion in institutional RWAs via partnerships with Circle and Van Eck, and a mobile app launch to enable zero-fee stablecoin access for millions of new users. So he is clearly advocating for the work that they do outside of the literal protocol existing, that they are doing to further the actual underlying, the Aave broadly, right? And then on the other corner, in the red corner, we have DAO, the DAO, Aave-chan, ACI is the acronym you'll see, and Mark Zeller is the one that actually is the one that's like spearheading that. He's the persona that is known for the DAO. And what he has come back with is an initiative, ACI, or Aave-chan initiative, ACI, is backing a major proposal to transfer ownership of the Aave brand, IP, and the web domains from the developer firm Avara directly to the DAO, right? So that is, again, showing the delineation between the two things. There's the protocol, it's the smart contracts, it's the fees that are generated there. A lot of that stuff is either immutable or hard set to be run to the DAO treasury. And then there's Aave.com. There is the front end website. There's the maintenance of that. There's the support of that. There's the IP of Aave itself. That is all owned by the Labs entity, which Stani has just represented. And they have made some decisions recently that kind of rubbed the wrong way. So in this ACI proposal, they argue that the community has effectively paid 4 times for these assets through funding and token dilution, yet Avara currently exploits them, allegedly expressing governance debates and confusing the public with misleading titles like CEO of Aave, which is not a thing. That's not CEO of the protocol. The proposal itself demands a structural overhaul where DAO-controlled entity holds all the legal rights to the protocol assets. To demonstrate their commitment, ACI pledges to hand over their brand assets and even drop Aave from their name if the measure passes. So you have a struggle for power right now between these two entities. And a lot of people are marking it as like the pivotal moment for just all of DeFi and crypto broadly, as this token versus equity debate continues to rage on. Some people like Tulip King, previously of Masari, now with Counterparty and Thread Guy, actually put in a proposal himself on the Aave forum, labeled the poison pill. And his intention was just like basically spend all of the treasury funds to sue the labs, like just sue them into the ground, create a bunch of headache, like go after them. And he's saying more DAOs need to do this, going after labs to just basically create a big headache for everyone so that the labs teams are more aligned and like relent on their positions, give some ground, all that stuff, and try to actually like return to what everyone originally envisioned with all of this stuff whenever they originally were created, right? That we envisioned a DAO world where everyone, token holders specifically, had the ability to govern, run, maintain all of these things. It got really messy because DAOs are really messy because you have too many cooks in the kitchen, frankly. But Aave is probably one of the few examples where you can actually have token holders and a proper governance structure that can actually like activate and engage and maintain some of this stuff. So interested to see it play out. I don't have enough deep history of the protocol itself and like the Aave or Aave DAO to say which one I think should win. But intuitively, as a fan of this ecosystem and a fan of like tokens actually having value, I hope the DAO actually succeeds in pulling them closer.
Excellent summary, Brad. My thought on it is that in essence, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, this is a struggle to have tokens which operate as if they are equity, and the way around this shouldn't be too complicated. And actually, if the labs team, the labs would have been, the people behind labs or whoever's truly behind labs will have been allocated a ton of tokens already, right? They get given all of their tokens. They allocated them at the beginning. And so the way around this, in a way, is just like give people the equity they desire, given that they're one of the only teams that can execute on this properly, put all of that stuff into the DAO, but you are the majority shareholder in the DAO. Like that's how a founding team should operate, right? Like it's not like you don't want the founding team to have sufficient tokens because then they're not incentivized and they can't get the things they want done. And actually, I'm super against DAOs, or frankly, any person who's not the leader being able to push the leader around and not let them do the things they want to do. Like, you either think that they're good at what they're doing and you want the leader to go out and do all the new business. And Aave's been run well, from what I could tell. They're like expanding, they're doing good stuff. You want the person who's in charge, Stanley, to continue in that job. And you don't want to inhibit them. You don't want to inhibit great people, great leaders from doing what they want to do. So I'm conscious of that, but then that's fine. You just make sure that labs have enough. I don't know the current status of the holdings, whether they do have enough, whether they've sold off a lot because they've profited already. And I guess that's the tension, right? If they have sold a ton already, then maybe you don't want to. Maybe you don't let it go because then you lose your majority position. So I think that's at least the tension, Brad. Do you think that's an accurate representation?
I think it is, and because that was pointed out by, I want to say, DCF God. And he's like, yeah, like if you were originally given tokens for free and you no longer have the tokens and you are no longer aligned, tough cookie, basically.
Go buy them back, or
tokens.
why did you sell them all? Like, why did you sell them all?
Yeah. Yep.
The whole,
and then that puts a position in the DAO to like actually bully those people because they presumably don't have the money, right, to actually do the stuff. So they should assert their power in that situation.
Yes. Brad, sorry, Ledge, do you have a view on this before we hit the final headline?
I think on the one hand, it generally worries me a bit about the future of tokens if we see this like power struggle between the founders, the DAOs, the labs going on. On the other hand, if I'm trying to see this with a bit more of a balanced view, I think these power struggles are very real in startups in early stage ventures. After they did a couple rounds, you have sort of investors fighting for power there as well, fighting for board seats, whatever. And I think it's just more prominent for us in crypto because of the transparent nature of things with tokens, DAOs, and we just having a vested interest in these things. So yeah, could have a long discussion on that, but I'll leave it at that, just given that we are almost out of time for today.
Good stuff. Okay, so look, that is the main news on Aave. I think it's really interesting. We'll keep abreast of that situation. And let's hit the final headline. We've only got a couple minutes left today, but I think this is an important one as well. This is the news that the Hyper Foundation is allowing validators to vote on burning all the hype tokens accumulated by the Assistance Fund. You know very well that the Assistance Fund has been using 97% of the earnings of all of the hype protocol to just buy back its own tokens. Why Hyperliquid has been such a popular protocol up to date. And it's why there's been such positive price action. People are incredibly happy that they were confident enough to dedicate that much amount of money to buying back their own token. And that's kind of taken it out of circulation anyway. This proposal is just kind of making that more formal. So what they said is, and just for context, says the Assistance Fund converts trading fees to hype in a fully automated manner as part of the L1 execution. By voting yes, validators agree to treat the Assistance Fund hype as burned. No on-chain action is required as the tokens are already in a system address with no private key. This vote is binding social consensus to never authorize a protocol upgrade to access this address. So this is taking tokens completely out of circulation. In terms of the numbers, that means that currently 37 million hype tokens and all future tokens will be removed from total token supply if passed. So if people do agree with this, that's more than approximately 13% of circulating supply will be burned immediately. So that would, according to the tweet by Ryan Watkins, reduce the FTV by $1 billion at current prices. And as I said, circulating supply would be reduced by 13%. So big move here. My general thought is that although this sounds really, really good, and I think will give the market confidence that is the intention, I think people already thought that this was going to be the case. Like as all of these tokens were getting taken off the market, that's why people like Hyperliquid so much, because they're in their minds, they're thinking you're buying back your token, therefore it's off the market. So I actually don't think, like, although it's bullish news, although it is positive news, although people accept as well and like the fact that it's going to get codified, and I'm sure people are going to vote yes for this, I actually don't think it's as unexpected as people think, because people in their brains are already taking it out of circulation, because that's why they're so confident. That's why they've been so confident in buying the token, because it's the team holding it, and therefore you're kind of putting it down in your mind as them not doing anything with it. So that'd be my like slight caveat to the bullish aspect of it. And in terms of price, like I don't think it really moves the needle that much for Hyperliquid at the moment. There's still these monthly unlocks from the team, and it's still like a generally down market as well. And if the down market continues, then all of these perp dexes, including, and not just the perp dexes, but the pump fund, like all these protocols that have been earning a ton of revenue, you know, your projections will just have to taper down as the market continues to taper down, if that's the direction. Obviously, this is still one of the best products in the space, but you know, you can't escape the market, which is what I've always said. You can have a good asset and you can get it at a bad price just because of the market. And I still think all of the tokens are frankly vulnerable here, including hype. Although this is nice news, I don't think it is as wonderful as maybe it might hit you in the face. That would be my take, but curious for your take, Legendary. Curious for your take, Brad, before we close out.
If anything, it's a seldom news event. Like people did know this. This was the underlying assumption that these funds are essentially burned, and now codifying that. Yes, as you said, it's nice, but that is the expected thing that's now being codified. So if anything, it's a seldom news event.
I'm going to go in. So I also think it's kind of a non-news thing, but I think they should actually go further. Most of this stuff is just a accounting trick, right? And I don't know if you guys actually saw the discussion from Hasu and John Charbonneau earlier, where they actually made a proposal for how Hype should handle this stuff. And a lot of this, both the burning of the tokens that are actually in their supply, yes, it's an expected thing, but then also they're sitting on a huge amount for the actual foundation itself. And the thing that they noted was, bro, they should frankly burn both of them, like entirely, And then if they need funds to buy, sell, work on the protocol, all this stuff, they should just issue the tokens at the time, go through a proposal, do that kind of stuff, and then remove the supply cap entirely. And what this effectively does is it benefits investors who are unfamiliar with the protocol, where you can just like at a glance look at it. Because if you right now they have something like 40%, 60% of the token supply that's just dead, right? Which means anyone who comes across this project who is not deeply familiar with it looks at it and they say, yeah, bro, it's a 12 billion FDV, 37 billion. Or sorry, 12 billion market cap, 37 billion FDV. I'm not going to buy. I can't bid a 37 billion FDV coin, and they can't be arsed to go through the actual digging through the docs and say like, oh yeah, but like 12% is effectively burned, another 30% is like kind of burned but not really burned. It's in the foundation's hands, and they have a long history of never actually spending the thing. So it's like, it's like it is 37 billion, but it's not. Like, no one fucking does that, even at the high end VC level. So for simplicity's sake, like, bros, they should just nuke all of it. And then if they need tokens to sell, buy, do whatever, literally just go through, like, people will give them tokens, right? People will say like, dude, bro, you've generated $1 billion in revenue in the last year. Like, yeah, sure. You want some tokens? Take $100 million, take $200 million, buy a team, do whatever. And like that actually becomes something that is now expected, seen, forecasted, whatever. And it means you're now operating at a 12 billion FDV. And anyone who comes across the protocol, VCs, whatever, and they say, oh, it's a 12 billion FDV, 12 billion market cap, bid. Because like I can see based on what they're doing, like that is actually worth way more than that. And you're cutting out a huge swath of people that have large capital by having this basically fucked up accounting that's going on. That's different between every single project.
Interesting perspective. I hadn't thought about it like that, but like the take, Brad. Like the take a lot. Look, guys, that is the end of today's show. Just want to give a little shout out to Bongo in the audience. Just shared a tweet. Appreciate the love here. He said, I don't know any other crypto show that's nailed 2025 trading wise. Modern Market crew have their portfolio at all-time highs, and they've been in stables for a long time now. I've been thinking about this a lot as we kind of come to the end of the year. I never used to be a trader. I really never knew how to trade. And then the more I got involved in this market, you start to realize how few decisions you need to get right. And if you just, plus or minus 10, 15%, even 20% in this market that's so volatile, you just need to get a general sense. Like, it was like sell January, buy summer, sell summer, de-risk over the rest of the year. And that's really it. Like, if you zoom out, and now we're at this stage of the year, and if you look back at the last 12 months, that's basically it. It was like buy November last year, sell Jan, buy a little bit more, take risk in the summer, and then de-risk from there. That was it when I reflect on it. And so I think it's really helpful to turn up every single day as part of this process. We appreciate you all for joining us, being part of the conversation. Really, really glad that you get some value from it. And that's really the game. Like, we're just trying to figure it out loud. Whilst we have done well in this cycle, we definitely don't get everything perfect, but we're just sharing our thoughts and ideas as we have them on a day-to-day basis with our increasing experience. And I think that increasing experience is becoming even more helpful to us as we continue to navigate it forward. So appreciate you, Bongo. Appreciate everyone else for joining us every single day. Just a reminder, we do this every single day, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern time, live on X video, YouTube, and you can catch us on Apple, Spotify podcasts, and follow along on TikTok and maybe some more platforms from the new year. We'll have some news there soon. Have a wonderful day. Take care. We'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye.